Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show, please click like and subscribe, and I'd appreciate it if you would consider becoming a Patreon. The link for that is in the description below. So today, we're going to be talking about rum and just rum, and we're going to have a little rum fun. Actually, before I became a whiskey nut, I actually started my spirit journey a long time ago in 1988 in Belize and drinking Belize rum from the Caribbean. And while I was there, I've been there several times over the years, and I always liked their local rum. And down there, I was able to sample and test some Caribbean rums, which are challenging to get in the States. But here we are in March of 2021, and I've gravitated to more of a Scotch guy. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about rums. Not today, but in future episodes, we will be talking about the privateer rums made in Ipswich, Massachusetts. And that's about 2 hours from where I live. I live in Cape Cod, hence the festive Cape Cod Caribbean color sporting t-shirt. So yes, I'm looking forward to getting into the privateer rums at future points. So today we're going to be focusing on Foursquare, specifically on the 2008 exceptional cask versus the Redoubtable. As we know, Foursquare, they're non-chill filtered, no added coloring, and everything is done in-house in Barbados. The 2008 comes in at 60% ABV, and the Redoubtable 61%. The 2008 is 12-year, exclusively matured in ex-bourbon casks, and the Redoubtable is 14 years with ex-bourbon and ex-Madeira. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Plantation rums. Now, Plantation is a bottling and blending company. And what they do is they purchase casks from different countries, and then they bring them to the south of France, where they double mature them in Ferrin casks, which my understanding are ex-cognac casks in the south of France. And they make basically a bunch of one-off offerings. So this particular one is a Jamaican rum, and it's a dry Jamaican rum, and this particular one is 43%, and there's no age statement on this one. Then I have a Plantation Jamaican rum, aged 5 years. This one only comes in at 40% ABV. There's no mention on Plantation whether they chill filter or color or anything like that, so I have no information on that. What's interesting about this one, though, the one from Jamaica at 43%, in Jamaica, it was from the Jamaican Clarendon distillery, and part of it was matured in ex-Aaron whiskey casks, and also from the Long Pond distillery, and they used wine casks, and it's spelled Tokag, so Tokaj, something like that. And then again, they're brought to the south of France where they go through a second maturation in ex-cognac casks. So on the Plantation extra dry Jamaican, right on the way on the nose, you get baked pineapple. Now, I love pineapple. I love fresh pineapple. And I love fresh pineapple put on a grill, or fried up even with Spam. I love it. But for some reason, when I smell it put too much of it in a rum, it doesn't float my boat. And this one here is big time baked pineapple. On the nose and on the palate, and it's got a pretty decent finish to it. Although this is a sipping rum, and I'm sure a lot of people would really enjoy it, I found it works best if you mix it with pineapple juice, even canned pineapple juice. It makes one hell of a nice Mai Tai. And then over here, I just opened this one. So basically, this is more of a neck pour. So this is aged 5 years, but it's only 40% ABV. So on the nose, there's not a lot on the nose. On the palate, it's very nice. I get big time apple juice and cinnamon and like that baked apple pie flavor on it. And for 40%, it's got very decent viscosity and decent legs on it. I know you probably can't see that too well, but it's very enjoyable. And these Plantation rums are very reasonably priced. I forget which one I paid what for, but basically $20 to $25. Maybe now they're getting closer to $30, but for under $30, you can pick up a lot of these Plantation rums. Again, I have no idea about chill filtration or coloring or anything like that. There's no mention of that I could see. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Foursquare 2008 exceptional cask. Okay, now we're talking cask strength. So it's got a nice powerful nose. And although there is a slight hint of that baked pineapple, I mostly get maple syrup and brown sugar. And on the palate, it's sweet, but not too sweet. And I get mint or menthol along with that maple syrup and brown sugar. And it's got a extraordinarily long finish. Now the Redoubtable. On the nose, I get that quite a bit, that baked pineapple, which is why I kind of wanted to compare it a little bit to that. This is like 100% baked pineapple on the nose and palate. But this is, you get a little bit of that maple brown sugar. acetone, but in a good way. Like it's a cool acetone note on it, which I'm sure is from the bourbon. And it's also a nice sweet nose on the palate. On the palate, I get a sweet acetone in a good way, with a little bit of that maple and brown sugar as well, and a little bit of that baked pineapple. So it's not a turn off by any means. But I was sampling these earlier today, and one glass I use that has a marking on it, which I use for the 2008, and the other one there's no marking on it. But I got them mixed up, and I'm like, okay, which one did I pour in which? And so I was just drinking each one, going back and forth. And then I realized that although there are subtle differences, at the end of the day, they're both in the same family. They're both in the same ballpark. And they are a little bit different, but not substantial, in my opinion. The main difference for me in the Redoubtable, I do get a little bit more of that baked pineapple. But earlier today, when I was switching them back and forth, I was challenged to find which one I actually liked better, or which one was. I could tell there was a slight difference between them. But I would say I like them almost equally. But if I had to pick, I would go with the 2008, mainly because I'm not a huge fan of that baked pineapple note, and there is a little bit of that in the Redoubtable. Some people might love that. But here's the thing. I mean, the 2008 retails in my neck of the woods for around $80 to $85. The Redoubtable retails for between $112 and $115. So for sake of argument, the Redoubtable is $35 more. And I believe that's similar with the Nobility, which is also a cask strength, which is highly regarded as well. And I believe you're going to pay, 115, 120, maybe a little bit more for the Nobility. So, and then of course, Foursquare makes other ones like the Dente and non-cask strength versions that are more in the $55 to $65 range, maybe $70, depending on where you go. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, they're both comparable, and I think you get more bang for the buck, in my opinion, with the 2008. You get the Madeira finish on the Redoubtable. You get the extra 2 years, and that's what you're paying the extra money for. So I recommend them both. And I'll tell you, and for the money, the Plantations are very nice as well. You cannot beat $20 to $25 price or $30 for these. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please click like and subscribe and consider becoming a Patreon. And again, the link for that will be in the description below. So just remember, no matter how good it is or how much it costs, it's just rum, folks. So hats off to you all, and take care.